Welcome, everybody. So this is something a little bit different, something new I'm going to try here on the channel. Mission Cinema, as you can see. Basically what this is going to be is I'm just going to talk about movies and talk about what I think. Some of them might be movies that are just coming out in theaters. Some might be old movies. Some might be TV shows. But today we're starting with a movie, Kraven the Hunter. Of course, just came out in theaters. Saw it opening night, Thursday, December 12th. So let's get into what I thought about that film. First of all, to set the stage so you guys know a little bit about who I am, I have been to every single Marvel movie opening night for the last 5 years since Endgame. Since Captain Marvel, because that technically came out before Endgame. Been to every single opening night, Thursday opening night previews. That includes Marvel, that includes Sony Marvel. I don't think there's been any X-Men films since then. Yeah, so Sony Marvel and MCU Marvel. But been to every single opening night. I see most Marvel movies at least 2 or 3 times in theaters. And I knew this movie probably wasn't going to be the best based on Madam Web and Venom and such, but you best believe it wasn't going to ruin my streak. So I was there tonight, saw it at the Disney Springs Theater, Dolby Cinema, usually my go-to cinema style of choice. I like IMAX as well, but the Disney Springs Theater doesn't have IMAX, so Dolby Cinema it was. So in terms of the film itself, first of all, we're going to give it my ranking. I use Letterboxd, so that's on the 5 scale. You can use half stars. It got a 2.5 out of 5 star. My expectations were low, as they are with most Sony films coming out of films like Morbius, Madam Web. The Venom films I tend to enjoy more than most, I feel like. I was pleasantly surprised with Venom: The Last Dance. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's actually my favorite of the 3 Venom movies. But Kraven the Hunter. Overall, I think I had the exact same feelings about Kraven the Hunter as I do for Madam Web. Almost everything that I say about Kraven the Hunter can also be applied to Madam Web, and really makes me feel like Sony just cannot learn from their mistakes. Number one, the plot structure. Rough. Lots of plot holes, lots of random turns that make no sense. Also, I should say at this point on, spoilers. I feel like that's kind of obvious, but just in case you weren't aware, spoilers. Plot holes, mainly just like random turns. There's a scene like halfway through where Russell Crowe's character comes in, the dad of the 2 boys comes back, and they just like sit down and chit chat after Craven has been away for like a super long time, and they just kind of like act like nothing ever happened. Like, they're obviously not getting along all buddy buddy, but it just seems way too chill for what happened between them the last time and everything. So that was kind of random. Dialogue. Rough dialogue. Not as bad as Madam Web, I don't think. There was no, when you accept responsibility, great power will come. But definitely some very cheesy dialogue and some random stuff that doesn't make any sense, as well as tons of ADR. Same as Madam Web. I can't remember, Ezekiel Sims in Madam Web had a ton of ADR. And this movie, there's some characters, especially the female character, what's her name? Calypso. She seemed to have a ton, and lots of just choppy bits and dialogue that doesn't make any sense and seems definitely like an afterthought. There are some good jokes here and there. I found some stuff really funny. The audience was definitely laughing along as well at some parts. In terms of the CGI, shot composition, lighting, stuff like that, I think that this is something that Sony is actually really good at. There's some shots in Madam Web that are beautiful, and there's not any like extravagant shots in this movie, but overall the CGI is really good, the VFX are good, the lighting is good. I think they do pretty good about that. So that's a plus for me. We're going to kind of bounce all over the place here because I'm just trying to think of what I remember. I saw this movie about 3 hours ago, so most of it's fresh on my head, but done a lot since then. Ran to Epcot for an excursion. If you check out my other videos, you might see what happened at Epcot tonight. But what else? Oh, there's a scene where we see Craven's like hideout back in the woods, and it's like fully furnished in the middle of nowhere. It's in Russia, middle of nowhere, the woods, and all of a sudden it's fully furnished with like kitchenware, a bed, tables, stoves, and it's like where did this stuff come from? Like, it makes no sense. So another thing that Sony seems to struggle with is wanting to reference Spider-Man and the greater Sony Spider universe, but not actually doing it. We of course have Daily Bugle mentioned in this a couple times. You see their website or their newspaper, which we've seen it in all of them. We expect it at this point. I don't really think that one's too big of a deal. Not bad. But there's a random thing going on with Kraven's mom that's alluded to, with her having a fear of spiders, and then Kraven has a whole thing with spiders coming down all over him, and it's like, either it's another one of their like little jabs, like, oh, hey, remember Spider-Man? Yeah, like he's one of our characters, but we don't use him for some reason. Or they're just completely oblivious and have no clue how that's going to come over with audiences. But some of the characters I did really enjoy. Rhino. Rhino was a weird one. When he's in his human form, he's a weird fella, but very fun character. I like it. The VFX on him, I think, look really good and decent character story and stuff. The Foreigner was another one that was really good. One issue I did have with him, though, was at the start of the movie when he's first using his powers, it's kind of unclear what they are. At first, I thought that he had some type of like phasing ability like Ghost does in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but it turns out it seems like he's a speedster almost, like he can pause time and move through it. Something like that. I'm not really sure. This is one of those things where comics people definitely had the advantage here. I'm sure they know who the Foreigner is, and I'm sure that, they recognize that immediately. But I myself would consider myself an MCU and Marvel expert, but not the comics. Never read a comic book in my life. What else? The Chameleon, which is Kraven's brother. He gets the moniker at the end of the film and does a whole like little power thing where he shows off his powers. Definitely kind of cool, but that leads to another one of my complaints. Same thing as Madam Web. Very end of the film, Kraven gets his suit, you can call it, just a fur coat, and then there's some stuff set up with a chameleon, his brother, and it's just like, it's setting up a sequel that's never going to happen, just like Madam Web. Highly doubt we get a Madam Web 2 or a Kraven 2. Maybe we'll see these people again in a Sinister Six type of thing, or some other Sony Spider-Man universe, but as of right now, they've said that they're done for the foreseeable future with this universe, which I think is a good thing. As much as I would like to see these characters back and hopefully something better, it just seems like they like to give a really long origin movie that very little shows them using their powers. This one, he used his powers throughout. That's not a problem, but Madam Web especially. And they give them their suits at the end, and they say, well, here they are. You might never see them again, but they got a cool suit now that you get to see for like 5 seconds. A good choice I think they did make was omitting the end credit scenes. No end credit scenes in this movie. I don't really know what they would have to set up. As of right now, the only things that Sony really has on the table are Beyond the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man 4, none of which have anything to do with this film, so makes sense. But overall, messy movie, enjoyable. Would I watch it again? Probably. Would I love it? No. But I think that in terms of like my rating for the Sony Spider-Man universe, all 3 Venom films take spot 3, 2, 1. So Venom 3, Venom 2, Venom 1. Then I'm going to go Madam Web. Then I'm going to go Kraven the Hunter. And then Morbius. I think that's pretty fair. I enjoyed Madam Web more than most, I feel like, as well. It was a bad movie. Believe me, I get it. It was bad. But it was so bad that it was almost entertaining. You know what I mean? This movie had its highlights. It had its issues. Very gory, very bloody. I think that the R rating was definitely necessary for this film. I almost think the Venom films could have had an R rating at some point. I get why they didn't, and I think that's okay. But I think it really worked in this film. So maybe that's something we get to see more of in the future. I think that the MCU is definitely thinking about it after how successful Deadpool and Wolverine was. I think we'll kind of see what happens with Thunderbolts. It is, of course, PG-13, but could be, a setting with a darker tone, so we'll see. But for now, I think that's it for Kraven the Hunter. Like I said, 2.5 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. But let me know what you think about these styles of videos. Might do them more. Might go back and review some films that I've seen already. I'll probably rewatch them again first, but love to see that. Other than that, in the future, up in the near future, we of course have Captain America Brave New World, Thunderbolts. Those are the 2 Marvel ones. And then Snow White, I'll probably be watching, I think, in January, March. I think it's March. I don't even know. Sometime around then. But definitely be seeing Snow White. Definitely watch Captain America Brave New World, Thunderbolts. And I think that's about it right now. So if there's anything else you want me to review or take a look at, let me know. And just let me know how you like this video. See you next time.